What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Sanchez405 coming at you. It's On the Warpath. New segment. It's the preview edition of the upcoming game. It's called Friday's Face Off Features because your boy loves alliteration, loves talking about the Skins, and I hope you love listening to me. I'll be going over previewing that game that's coming up here, and it's going to be all throughout the season. And I'm going to give you a little bit of history, a little bit tidbits on the last few games against the opponent and the history overall. A lot of people don't realize this is a historic rivalry, although it's lost its flair since they split up into the NFC and the AFC. But a lot of people don't know from 1933 to 1969, excluding the years 43 and 44, the Redskins and Steelers were playing twice a year. So it is somewhat of a rivalry in that regard. Although the Skins have fallen on the wayside of the Steelers, and I mean, it's been like child abuse the last 5 games. Last time the Redskins did defeat Pittsburgh, it was in 1991, the Super Bowl year, beating them 41-14. Just to put that in perspective, the Redskins have only scored 41 combined points against the Steelers since they started this 5-game losing streak back in 1997. And for what it's worth, that needs to change, and I think that will change. I'll get into that in a little bit. But the Steelers have dropped 104 points compared to the Redskins, 41 points in these last 5 games. So a lot to be desired. A lot of people want this game. I'll be honest with you. If we could have one game, I would love to see them beat the Steelers, because to me the Steelers are just as bad as the Dallas Cowboys. I honestly believe that they have and it might not be because of the team, while it is because with Dallas it is the team and they're terrible fans, but Pittsburgh fans are some of the worst if they're not actually from Pittsburgh. And y'all know in Northern Virginia and where else, there seems to be a cluster of Pittsburgh fans. And I mean, they're ring chasers. They are diamond hoes, and by diamond hoes, I mean they love going after that ring, and they just like to say, "Oh, we win all the time." But you're not a real fan. You couldn't tell me anything about the team. So if you're watching this video, I might tell you a little bit more about your team than you actually know. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 2 in the AFC North. They were good enough to be the 6th seed in the AFC playoffs, and it was the AFC North, excuse me. Check me on that if I said East. They were 10-6. Ben Roethlisberger, their leading quarterback. He's been their quarterback since 2004, when he led them to a 14-0 record to start out, and he has just impressed monumentally. He's won 2 Super Bowls. He is the epitome of the big quarterback who can get it done. And basically, this team, although he missed 4 games, didn't seem to miss too much of a beat. They were 4th in points, 3rd overall in offensively, and he led them. He almost had 4,000 yards, 21 touchdown passes, and completed 68 of his throws, although he does have small big weapon in Antonio Brown, who had 1,800 yards, led the NFL in catching and receiving yards, and had the touchdowns as well. I believe he had 10 touchdown catches, and he can do things on the end around and everything when they need it, and he's a hell of a punt returner for what that is worth. And punt return can be a little bit of a problem. Special teams in general is a problem for our teams at times. But going to our Washington Redskins, 9-7, first in the NFC East, good enough for 4th in the NFC, bowed out against the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs, the wild card round. The Steelers did go a little bit farther. They got revenge on Cincinnati in the wild card round, but bowed out to the eventual Super Bowl champion Denver Broncos. And defensively wise, turning that coin, they were 11th in points, but 21st in total defense. So there is a window of opportunity for Kirk Cousins and this offensive squad. There has been a lot of suspensions, and they did lose a key pass rusher in Bud Dupree, Martavius Bryant, and Le'Veon Bell have been suspended. Le'Veon Bell's just going to miss one game because he can't stay off the reefer, as the old folks would say. And I believe Bryant was shooting up, so he is out for the rest of the season. He did try to appeal that, but I don't think it fell on deaf ears. But like I always say, check me if I'm wrong on that. Yeah, I got my notes right here, so you might have seen that in the screen. But looking at it, what do the Skins need to do to win this ball game, y'all? Offensively, Kirk Cousins needs to exploit this defense. Third worst pass defense in the NFL last year. And he knows what it's like to play against terrible pass defense. He had a terrible pass defense last few years in Washington, so he could go up against that in practice. But you also have to establish the run against these guys. You cannot win a ball game if Matt Jones. Hopefully he is ready to go. Hopefully he is healthy, and this was a precaution. But what I've seen in preseason doesn't look like it. Hopefully it won't translate into this upcoming game into the regular season. So I'm hoping that he will be healthy and good to go, and the offensive line can get their act in gear as well, so we're not just running for 2-3 yards a pop. And got to convert those third downs. Redskins were in top 5 in third downs offensively last year, and Pittsburgh was near the bottom half of the league. So that is a push right there in favor of the Skins. You have to make it happen. And also, going back to my point about establishing the run, if you establish the run, you eat the clock up, you keep Ben Roethlisberger off the field. Your defense doesn't have to do it. I'm not going to say it right here, but I am going to say it, actually. It's not the point if Pittsburgh scores. It's when they score and how they score. So if you keep them off the field, they're going to score. But if you keep them off and you get some opportunities, you take advantage of the field that your defense gives you at times, you should be good to go. Defensively wise, pressure busts the pipe. I'm not talking about just getting sacks. I'm talking about changing his course of direction, making sure he's not comfortable. Yes, for a big guy, he can roll out. He's good on the run, so you have to account for that as well. You have to get to him. You have to put your hands on him. You have to touch Ben Roethlisberger. He has to be touched by these defensive angels. He really does. Kedrick Golston has to get his hands on him. Ryan Kerrigan, if he can get a sack. Preston Smith, if he can get a sack in there. It's not about sacks, but if you get pressure on him, make him make mistakes. They are lacking the tight end position. Heath Miller, who retired last year, is no longer there. So he doesn't have reliable tight end. Ladarius Green, who they picked up from San Diego, who's on the up and up. He's on the PUP list, so he's not playing this game either. There's a lot of advantages to be exploited offensively wise with the Steelers, especially when they're missing 2 top talents in Bryant and Bell. Also, the matchup of the game, it's going to be Josh Norman against Antonio Brown. Josh Norman, I'm calling you out, boss. You talk all this mess during the regular season, man. It's time during the offseason. It's time to pay the piper. It is time to shut this dude down. You shut this guy down, you win the game. You have to be money. You've talked all this money. You got the money. It's time to put in your money. It's time to cash that check in for this defense. Have to do it. D'Angelo Williams, surprise in 2015. He did really good in place of Le'Veon Bell. Don't overlook him. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say he's a key to the offense, but you do not need to overlook him. This is a passing team, and you have to hold them to 21 points. In 5 of their 6 losses last year, this team was held to 21 points or below. That's what you have to do. 3 touchdowns, you got a chance. They did have that shootout against Seattle, but and you have to get them on the road. So you're on the road, you hold them to 21 points, you have an opportunity there to have a chance to win here. And I look at it and I say, Kirk Cousins, he can do as much as he is allotted. So he doesn't have excuses. And he said he will not make excuses. I love this Wolfpack mentality. If you need to go on the Redskins website. They're talking about being a pack. And those pack of dogs better feast on that meat. That Big Ben sandwich. That's what they got to do. Get to him. They have to, like I said, they have to affect him. Whether it's linebackers, get in his head. If you have to send him on a safety blitz. I'm not saying you should do that, Joe Barry, but I really do think you just have to get him uncomfortable. You cannot let him dictate the game. And that's what we've let quarterbacks do in the past. Decent quarterbacks dictate the games. And can't let that happen. And this is a key test for Josh Norman. Like I said, he's going to be facing 3 of the best wide receivers in the NFL in the first 3 weeks of the season. Next week is Dez Bryant, and the week after that is Odell Beckham Jr. So this is a good tune-up for him to show how his season will go. And I'm looking forward to it. I think we have a great opportunity to win this ball game. And you just have to worry about keep your blinders on, exploit that defense, because Pittsburgh's defense isn't like it's been in the last few years, which is they've been on the downslide, and that was what led to a couple of 8-8 seasons a few years ago. They can't get that defense going. The offense had become the powerhouse with Todd Haley at the helm. So look for that. I think if they followed that script, and third down is the money down. I always tell you that if you get your opponent off on third down and you keep on going on third down and converting, you're gonna win the ball game. Limit the turnovers. That's common sense right there. I think, like I said, you have to get pressure. Pressure will bust the pipes, and pressure will bust Ben Roethlisberger. He has shown that he is getting older, and he can be a little fragile. So if you hit him once, hit him twice, he might break under that pressure. But I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can get a live stream up here, instant reaction of the ball game. And as always, I love you guys. Comment with what you think the Skins need to do to win this ball game. Thanks for folks who watch my live stream. That was me doing it for the first time on new standards with YouTube, so it was very interesting. I like to BS with you guys, and that was a little fun and rant and rave, but now it's time to get serious, and it's time to focus on the task at hand. Supporting this team and making sure that we will be seeing them in January, hopefully in February. I love you guys as always. Ending out, love, peace, and hail, and I hope you love Friday's Face Off feature. I'm out.